In the first reading, we hear those words from St. Paul when he says, "I am not ashamed of the gospel. It is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes." Just think about those words, "I am not ashamed of the gospel." Can we, in our own personal lives, can we say those same words? I am not ashamed. How do we live our faith in the public square, in our workplaces, with family members or friends? How do we show that we are Christian? Again, are we ashamed of the gospel? You know, that's not something that we can just snap our fingers and suddenly have this boldness. That boldness, what we see in all the saints' lives, comes from their deep union with God, from their deep prayer life, and from that passion that they had, that deep love for God. And so if we find ourselves fearful, wondering about what are people going to think, then that is a call to us to deepen our relationship with God, because once we are in love with God, there's nothing that can keep us quiet. And we realize that there may be people who depend on me, who depend on what I say, how I share my faith to be saved. And that's why we heard those words in the gospel. It is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. That is why we share the gospel. That's why we don't allow ourselves to be just full of fear, because we realize that this message that we have, it's not just so people can feel the peace of God in their lives, but it's about their salvation. It's something so important. And again, brothers and sisters, sometimes those people depend on us. They depend on you and me. And so we pray for that same faith that we see in the saints, to not cower in fear, to not be ashamed, but to speak boldly and to work for the salvation of souls.